Okay, I think we can go ahead and get started. So thank you, everyone. This is Rick Murphy from AllNet Distributing. I want to thank everyone for taking the time to join us on the call today. Today's call, we've got Paul Malizio, who is our local Lutron rep in Illinois for the state of Illinois. So he's local to our dealers who work with our Elk Grove Village branch. And Paul is going to be reviewing a new portal for Lutron, and it's I'll let Paul describe it, but it sounds like it's a new design and quote tool. So a few notes about the presentation today. As always, everyone's phones will be muted. If you have questions to ask for Paul, we can address them at the end. There's a questions tab along your dashboard on the right-hand side of your screen. Please feel free to type in your questions, and we will address them with Paul at the end of the presentation. For any of you who have CDS certifications, participation in these webinars for the live sessions is worth 1/2 CEU toward your certification renewal. If you have any questions about redeeming your CEU credits, please feel free to follow up with myself or follow up with Bill Zidek after the presentation. So it's rick.murphy@allnetdistributing.com or bill.zidek, Z-I-D-E-K, at allnetdistributing.com. We'll be happy to help you with that. Also, I want to take a moment. I don't do this often enough in the series to thank you all for joining us, and also to thank you all for voting for us on things like the residential systems and the CE Pro ratings. So we've won some awards recently for the training program, and we definitely thank you for thinking of us when it comes time to submit those ballots. I want to give you a little bit of a heads up. I don't do a good enough job sometimes in getting the announcements out early enough for everyone to participate who would like to participate. So on deck in the next few weeks, I've got Sonos, Harmony, Atlona. We're working on Vivitech. So we're definitely trying to keep the pipeline full of good presentations. And again, we've got Lutron on deck today. So we're trying our best to give you guys the information that you need to deliver the best projects you possibly can. So without any further ado, here's Paul to discuss the new Lutron My Partner Portal.
All right, great. Thank you, Rick. And just echoing what Rick said, thank you all for taking your time to join us today. For those of you that have been selling Lutron for a while, you may have noticed that the Lutron website can be a little bit cumbersome sometimes to use. And the SCT, or the shade configuration tool, which was originally created about 20 years ago, was in a little bit of a need of a facelift, getting with the times, and there were certainly some good things about it, but definitely some things that could have been improved upon. So with Lutron really focusing on trying to develop dealer tools that makes their job easier, makes working with Lutron easier, one of the things that they really focused heavily on is this new portal. And part of this portal is the My Projects, which is the tool that will be replacing the shade configuration tool. So if you have the SCT currently, you can certainly continue to use it for the near future. But over time, throughout the course of the end of the year, you'll definitely want to get with your local Lutron person if you're not in the Chicago area, just to make sure that everything gets set up with your My Projects portal, and have someone come out locally and just sit down with you and go through it. If you're in the Chicago area, certainly you can reach out to me. A lot of you know Marla Martinez from Lutron, and Courtney Kent also from Archibald and Meek with me. So just reach out to whoever you're working with. If you're in Michigan or Indiana or one of the other areas, get in touch with your local people there so that they can walk you through it. There's a lot of great tools on here. So I'm going to actually walk through from the very beginning of logging into the My Lutron account so that everybody can see that. My screen's going to probably look a little bit different than your screens are, because I'm a rep, and so I have more content. But I just want you to see the whole login process from the very beginning. So you'll go on to your My Lutron account like you normally would log into, and once you're set up for the My Projects, you'll get onto this page, and then you'll see under Software and Support, there's going to be a thing there that says My Lutron /My Projects. So you'll click on that, And again, this tool is available now, so you can go ahead and reach out to your local person and request access to it. But you want to, at least by the end of the year, when the SET is scheduled to go away, you'll want to make sure that you spend time getting into here. So when you first get in, this is what you're going to see, and obviously you'll just see all the projects that are yours specifically. But what you'll want to do is click up here on Add Project, and then it's going to ask you some basic information. I'm just going to make up a couple of things here. Status, whether it's quoted, whether it's in a submittal phase, whether it's still in the design phase. Location, United States and the state is really all you're required to put in there. For your own benefit, you can put in the client's address. This is a nice feature if there's multiple people in your office. You guys can all actually share this tool because it's a web-based tool, and you can assign projects to each other. So this is a list of all of the people at Archibald and Meek that I could potentially assign this project to. For now, I'm just going to leave it assigned to myself. Job type, we'll just say it's residential. Primary influencer, I'm just going to say it's Archibald and Meek. This again is for your own benefit. If there's a designer that you're working with, you can note that in there. If it's an architect, if it's a specific builder that gives you referrals, this is a way you can put that information in. And down the road, there's going to be reporting abilities where you'll be able to track this and see where you're getting your leads and things like that. Estimated close date, I'm just going to say tomorrow. And I'm going to click on done. So you get your basic information. I'm going to say okay. And then you're going to come to this page here. So there's a couple of things on here. Think of areas as, when you were in the SCT, when you would put in a room name and then you'd put an area number. That area number, a lot of you may not even know this, what that area number does is if you put shades, build them into the same area, when Lutron does their quality testing before they ship products, they'll actually put all of the shades that are in that area up together and look at them as a group of shades to make sure that there's not inconsistencies among the fabric or coloration or openness factor between all the shades that are seen in that one area. So in here, if we double click on this, we can call this area, this could be the main floor of the house, could be the kitchen, could be the upstairs. I'm just going to say main floor. So I've got my area, and then if you hover over this little editing, you can add a child area. So I'm going to click on add child area, and then in this new area, I'm going to call it the living room. So as you can see, you can kind of, like you do in the Radio Raw 2 programming software, you build out, basically your area tree of the different parts of the house. Part of this will come into play later on when you decide that you're ready to actually quote something. You'll have the ability to select the areas that you want to specifically quote. So as an example, say you went and built out shades for the entire house and the customer says, no way, that doesn't fit in our budget. Let's just stick with the main floor for right now, or maybe just the second floor where the bedrooms are. You'll be able to just select the areas that you want to quote. Even though you've already built everything out, you can kind of subdivide that and provide a quote for just the specific shades that the customer wants to order right now. So in this living area, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add a product. So if we click on here, if you are triathlon only, you're going to see roller shades, you're going to see honeycomb shades. If you are somebody that has full shades access, or if you're I know there's probably some Lutron direct dealers on here. This will be custom so that you'll only see things that you're allowed to sell. So we'll just, for right now, we'll stick with roller shades. So I'm going to click on that. And then roller shade 1, we'll just call this living room west. And we'll say that there's 2 shades on that west wall, and they're, obviously it very rarely happens that they truly are identical, but we're just going to go ahead and throw some things in there. So I'm gonna throw some numbers in here that are going to be problematic, and I'm going to do that on purpose just so you guys can see how this tool is actually a little bit more intuitive and helpful than the shade configuration tool was. We'll start out. Okay, so when you initially go in here and you throw in a width and a height for the shade, a couple things to notice is in the upper right corner, you're going to start to see a range. That range mostly is dependent on the fabric that you're going to choose. But one thing that you can do if you want to is if you hover over this set max price, if you know that your customer has a specific budget that you need to work within and you need to stay within, you know, say $1,200 a window, you can go in here and you can set that max price, and then only options that fit that criteria will show up for you when you get further inside of this. So I'm going to go ahead and start building out the shade here. And then if you watch that price, that range right now is very vague because 169 could be a manual shade, and then 1600 could be an automated shade with a very expensive fabric. So one of the other things I want to show you here is when you go into the fabrics, if you know the name of the fabric that you like, so say you like to sell the sheer light fabric quite a bit, you can actually start typing in the name of the fabric and it'll find the options for you. So I'm going to go with this sheer light 3%. And then if you don't know the color that you're going to do on the final sale, you can select to be determined. If you know the color, say we're going to do this charcoal gray. Now you'll see that price band kind of narrowed, not by much, but it narrowed a little bit. So now it's a max of 1,200 and a minimum of 210 or 212. So if we do we'll say we're going to do a fascia. And then under technology, obviously, if you're a triathlon only dealer, you're only going to see triathlon or the cordless manuals. So I'm going to go ahead and pick triathlon as the technology. And then again, if you're just standard triathlon only, you're not going to see the option for wider. I have all of the options because I'm the rep. So you pick standard, and now you'll see that comes up with an actual correct list price for that product. So a couple of things I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back here and I'm going to get rid of the fabric that I selected just because I want to show you this tool. If I go in there and I say I've got a width of 110, well, it's not going to let me do it because of the width. I'm going to select the wider shade here just for the sake of demonstration. There are certain fabrics that can only have a maximum usable fabric width. And one of the things that this tool will do is eliminate options that are not available to you. So I'm going to go ahead and a lot of fabrics only have a maximum usable width of 110. So I'm going to put in a width of 111. And then when I click on the fabrics here, as you scroll down, you'll get to this yellow line, and basically it's saying anything under this yellow line is not going to work. So it won't let you select it. Obviously, again, if you're triathlon only, you're not going to see all these different fabric options that I have. You're going to see the options that are available in the Roller Essentials and the honeycomb binder. But and part of what this is doing when I say that I have a fabric or a shade width of 111 inches, it's eliminating fabrics that cannot be railroaded, meaning the fabric cannot be turned sideways. A lot of the fabrics kind of have a grain to them, almost like a wood grain, and you can't turn the fabric sideways because they will sometimes not look good. Sometimes the fabric, because of the weight of the fabric itself, it'll actually start to fray. So there's certain fabrics that can't be railroaded. So if we do, I'm going to say that we're not going to do any fascia. You'll see that list price, it changes as you make your changes, and so you have a really good indication of exactly how much that shade's going to cost you. So as you're building the shade, again, if you didn't go in and set that max price, you have the opportunity to look for fabrics and things that are going to work for you and stay within the cost budget that you have to work within. This additional options, you need to remember to click on this. It doesn't auto expand for you, and there are some things in here that you're going to want to make sure that you check out. The hem bar, it's automatically going to pick the designer bottom bar for you. So if that's not the hem bar that you normally like to use, if you like to use the sealed hem bar, you're going to have to remember to click on this drop down arrow and come in here and change that. I like the designer bottom bar, but a lot of people do go with the sealed bottom bar. Fabric drop, you have your options for regular and reverse roll, just like you would in the SET. Again, regular roll being that the fabric pays off towards the glass and the window. Reverse roll, the fabric rolls off the tube, pays off towards the room. You'll see in here again, if you say we do a reverse roll, if we do reverse roll, it's not gonna, well, here, let's click on the fascia and see what we get. So you're gonna get an error message saying that with reverse roll, you cannot have the fascia, or with fascia, you can't have reverse roll because the fabric will actually hit the fascia. So again, the software is a little bit more intuitive, and it'll stop you from doing things that you can't do, opposed to where the SCT would let you build the shade out virtually till it was complete, and then when you would check it, it would say, sorry, this doesn't work. Go back and find a different option. Well, this eliminates those other options for you so that you don't spend your time building shades that you can't actually have. You'll get your warnings just like you have in the SCT. This shade could have V's or waves in it because of the width of it. I'll show you the estimated roll-up diameter, which is really important, especially if you're doing, say you're doing wired, you're doing the triathlon shades, you're wiring them for power, and you're not doing a fascia because you're going to tuck them up inside of a pocket. That'll tell you how big of a pocket you need to have. And then there's options for the light gaps. I mean, most of the time you're going to go with the minimum, but if you do have a special request for some reason, you can put that note in there. The width type, just like you would have put in the SCT, you have an option of putting a width for fabric width or the bracket to bracket. And then once you've got this shade completed, you're going to go ahead and hit done. And I'm going to go ahead and just add a couple more products here, just so we can see this. One of the things I wanted to show you is you'll see not only shades, but you'll see controls, dimmers, switches, and sensors, lighting and fixtures, and then under accessories and equipment, you're going to see your power supplies. So if you're doing the triathlon shades and you're going to wire them for power, here's where you would go in. I'm going to click on this power supply, and you're going to pick your option here. So we're doing Savoia QS Triathlon. It's going to give you your two options for the power panels, the individual plug-in supply or the 10 output panel. We'll just go ahead and add that 10 output panel. Say you're also throwing a really small RAW2 system or RAW Select system in here in this house, just so that they can have app-based control for their shades. Nice thing with this is you can go in here and you can add lighting and fixtures, dimmers and switches. So we'll say we're going to add a C-Touch hybrid for a keypad, and this is a RAW2 keypad, designer style. You can pick your number of buttons, the color, all of those. We'll add that in there. And then we'll also go in here under controls, and let's see, parts and accessories. If you wanted to add in your pedestals, for your Pico controls, things like that, you can add them in here just like you did in the SCT. But it's a little bit more user friendly than it used to be. So on here, you'd have options for these are homework parts. So if you did happen to have access to homework, that's where you would see these different parts in here. But you have the option also of adding your radio RAW2 parts and things like that in here as well. I'm just trying to find the right system components. So under RAW2 Select, if you're looking for a main repeater because you wanted to throw that in there, And I'm gonna hit cancel and just go back in so you guys can see where I went for that. So add products, under accessories and equipment, go to system components, click on that. You can add your raw select or your raw 2 components. So we're gonna add that raw select main repeater. And so now you don't have to do a separate PO for the shades and the controls that you want to put on. You can put everything in here and just add it all into one order to submit through AllNet. The other thing that you can do, trying to parts and accessories, I believe it was under, sorry. So anyway, you can go through, you can add all your raw 2 components, your raw select components, your keypads, all of those things. So that way, you know, again, you don't have to go through and have a separate PO for the shades and one for the lighting control products. So now I'm going to go ahead actually here and I'm going to add another area, and I'm going to call this area second floor, just because I want to show you when you're actually quoting this out, how you can pick just the areas that you want to actually quote. So I'm going to just quickly throw a couple of shades in here. Just going to do a small shade real quick. We're going to do an inside mount, fabric. I'm going to do the sheer light again. I'll pick charcoal, top treatment. I'm going to say we're doing fascia, we're doing triathlon. The operator type is going to be standard. And we'll say we're doing battery so that it doesn't force us to throw a power supply in there. Go under additional options just to check and make sure everything is the way I want it. End cap color is going to be picked automatically unless you decide to change it to a different end cap color. Railroading is no, custom seams is no, because we're not doing a shade that's large enough to require that. It's going to show you what your light gaps are, bracket to bracket. So when you're done with that, go ahead and hit done. And so now you're going to click on this spec check button, and it's going to go through and it's going to give you whatever warnings, just like the SCT used to do. But this is just telling you, hey, you've got some mixed aesthetics on there. You've got one shade that's got no fascia and one that has fascia, so good to go there. We've got one warning, okay, the one shade, there might be some V's or waves, just like you would get in the SCT. We're okay with that. And now if you go on this and click quotes and orders, it'll take you to this page, and then you have to remember to click add quote. So when you click add quote, what it's going to do is pull up, okay, this is what you were working on. And say in my previous example, we did not want to quote the second floor. They wanted to just stick with the main floor right now. All you'd have to do is uncheck the second floor. And so now when it generates that quote for you, it's going to show you everything that's on that main floor. And if there was certain things that you decided you didn't want at this point, like the controls, you could just go ahead and uncheck the controls, and then you could create the formal quote. So that whole project gets saved in there, but you can actually create a quote just for the items that you're going to sell right now. And that'll all be saved in there so that down the road, if the customer says, well, hey, now I want to go ahead and pull the trigger on the second floor, you can go back to that same project and then create a quote for the additional items that you've already built in the software. So this will just take a couple of seconds. It's loading the price. The process for ordering shades through distribution, it has not changed and will not change. You will see a list price report here and a no price report. If you're somebody that buys through distribution, you are not going to see this your price. This is showing me because I'm basically set up as a direct dealer in here. So the process is the same, although the quote's going to the estimate's going to look a little bit different. You're going to see a quote ID. Same deal as before. You're going to take this quote, or this, it's going to say estimate for you guys. You're going to forward that on to your contact at AllNet and say, here, this is the quote that I need. You know, get my price for me. So that has not changed at all. So a couple of other things now. I'm going to go back to that design tab at the very beginning. So now that I've requested a formal quote on this, you'll see that there's locks on here. So that quote is now locked in. The pricing on it is guaranteed for 90 days. So that way, if you start quoting out a project and Lutron, say a week later, you quoted this and a week later, Lutron has a price change on something, maybe a fabric price increased, or with all these new tariffs going on, maybe the price of aluminum goes up, so Lutron has to raise the cost of the shades. You're locked in for 90 days on that price quote, If you want to duplicate this and make some changes to it, you can click on this little drop down arrow here, go to revisions and click duplicate. And it just created a duplicate of that. And you'll see that as you create revisions of quotes, it'll keep all of those revisions for you. So you don't have to save them on your computer anymore like you used to. This is all saved in the cloud. So as you make changes, the revisions will be in there. And if you made 10 revisions of this quote, all 10 of those revisions are going to still be in there. You'll also see this export button. So one of the things that you can do if you need to do, say, a mass edit, if you click on export, it's going to take all the quote information and dump it into basically an Excel spreadsheet. So if you had multiple shades, as an example, and on all of those shades, you wanted to go through and change the fabric, say instead of 3%, I want to do 5% on both of these shades, I can highlight this, change the fabric to -5, which is the 5%. And then I can save this file. And then if I go on back to this drop down box, I can click on drag or select a file to import, and it's going to, actually, I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to file, save as, I'm going to put it on my desktop, and I'm going to call it AllNet. Got it. Okay, so now if I click on here, drag or select a file to import, I can pull that file back in, and the changes that I made in that spreadsheet are now going to be populated into the tool here. So again, if you're working with a customer and you build out a bunch of shades, of course, when I'm doing a demonstration, it's going to give me a hard time. But so when you import that back in there, all of the changes to the fabric that you made will be reflected in there. So if, say you're working with somebody and you choose a fabric, or maybe you quote a specific fabric based on budget, and you've got 20 shades on the main floor. If the designer comes back and says, no, we want this openness factor, or we want a different fabric, you can go into that spreadsheet and then you can make mass edits that way, where in the old SCT you had an option for doing a mass edit. This is the way that you do it in the new tool. And that really is the high-level overview of it. As you get in and play around with it, again, I encourage you to get in touch with your local Lutron rep and just have them sit down and maybe help you out the first time you go through and build out some shades with it. But that's the new tool in a nutshell. Hopefully you guys will see that this is a big improvement over the SCT, and that it lets you add things only that are going to work, and it's a little bit more intuitive. And then the fact that you can go ahead and add other controls and things like that in there, a lot more user friendly than the SCT is. Again, I would suggest reach out to your local Lutron rep, have them get you set up for this now so that you can start playing with it and get comfortable with it before the SCT goes away at the end of the year. But again, you do have access to the SCT through the end of the year, so no need to go into panic mode. One of the other questions that always comes up when we talk about this is, well, what happens to all of my SCT files that I've been building and saving over the years? Lutron is working on a tool right now that will let you take all of those projects and import them into this platform. So the promise that Lutron has made is that the SCT will not officially go away until they have the ability to take all of those files and save them and give you the ability to access them through this new platform. So if there are no other, if there's any questions, feel free to type them into the chat message, and we'll start answering any questions people have.
Hey, Paul. Okay. So yeah, I've got a question I'm going to pose. So yesterday when we chatted, you said that there's a way to bring some of the RA2 lighting into this. So I see you've got a C-Touch hybrid right on the screen there, but it looks like you put it in as a control for the shade. So if you wanted to, let's say this house also had a RA2 system going into it, could you populate that as well and have that be a part of this quote? Is this a quote tool that you would use for the clients as well?
Yeah, so you can, yeah, exactly. Just like you would use this to quote shades to people, you can build all of your RA2 stuff into here. And there is an area, and I haven't been using this for very long, so I'm struggling to actually find it right now, but there is an area where you can actually go into here and you can add in by part number. And I'm, like
nice.
I said, I'm sorry, I'm struggling to find it right now because I haven't had a ton of time to play with this, but there, let me just.
Oh yeah, they're okay. So I see all the devices.
So you have all the devices and stuff in there,
I even see
right?
fixtures on there, so we can even add
well,
fixtures.
Yeah, if you are fixture certified, yeah. I mean, and the nice thing about this tool is that it's going to be it's going to be intelligent so that anything that you have access to sell, you'll be able to see in here. So if it's, you know, say if it's raw select, if it's raw 2, if you happen to be homework certified, you can add all of these different devices in here, so that you don't have to go. I mean, obviously to program a full raw 2 system, you're still going to have to go into the raw 2 programming software. But you know, if somebody has an existing raw system and you're just going to add a few pieces and parts to expand it, you don't have to go back into the raw 2 software just to build your bill of material. You can just add those devices into here and quote it all at one time.
So that actually brings up one of the first questions that we've got here. So one of the dealers on the call asks if we can export this design into either Essentials or Inclusive to start the programming, or do we have to kind of recreate the parts list before we begin the programming phase?
As of right now, you're gonna unfortunately have to do double work there. What Lutron is working on is making it so that you can take that designer file and import it into here. So
perfect.
You can build all your shades and everything in here, and then in the future, you'll be able to take that raw 2 designer file, import it to here, and that way, again, you can place your order for everything from one local spot without having to place 2 separate orders.
Okay, and then let's kind of take a step back. I'm going to address what has appeared as 3 questions now from 3 different people.
Okay.
Can you log out and then show where this is to be found? Because some of the people are saying they're trying to find this under their logins and they can't locate it.
Well, yeah, I'll go ahead and sign out.
Okay.
So when people, and this is why I was saying you want to reach out to your local Lutron rep.
Okay.
It's as of right now, it's not just automatically showing up in people's My Lutron account. They need to email me or Courtney or Marla or whoever their local Lutron rep is in their area and say, I want this now. And then we have to go to Lutron and say, you know, here's the email for this dealer. We want them set up and to have access now. The reason that Lutron is doing it this way is if they turn everybody on right now, number one, people would probably go in and start playing with it, not knowing what they're doing and potentially even accidentally placing orders. The other thing is just a bandwidth issue. If everybody started using it right now, yeah, they would get such a huge influx of traffic on that site that it would probably crash it. Okay. So they're kind of doing it in steps. So yeah, definitely reach out. Although I'm walking through the steps again, reach out to your local Lutron person and just say, hey, can you give me access to this, and we'll get you set up. Again, under software and support on your My Lutron page, you will see this once your access has been set up.
Okay, yeah. So anyone on the call, if you need to, if you need some help reaching out to your local Lutron rep, just shoot me an email and I'll forward it off to either your local AllNet salesperson or, and I know most of the Lutron reps in our markets, so I can help you make that connection if you don't already have that contact info. And obviously, if you're in the state of Illinois, you could reach out to Paul directly.
Yeah, either me or Marla or Courtney, and I mean whoever you work with. Obviously, I'm always happy to help anybody, and Courtney and Marla certainly would help anybody as well. But we didn't just mass turn it on for everybody because of the reasons I mentioned earlier.
And that makes a lot of sense too. With a new piece of software, it would be a support nightmare.
Right.
So when a dealer does request this to be turned on, they just need to send us their My Lutron login.
The email so if you send an email with the name of your company and your email that your My Lutron account is tied to,
Okay.
that's all we need. So that we can just say, here, this is a dealer with this company, here's his email address, please turn his access on.
Perfect. Okay. All right. So the next question that came up, it looked, someone said that it looked like the pricing that appeared on yours was higher than retail on some of the SKUs. Can the dealer set what the retail, how the retail appears?
No, I mean the retail price is the retail price. So what showed on mine as retail price should not be any higher than.
Yeah. So Ken, you may be going off an older price sheet. Reach out to us if you need current pricing, or obviously this would reflect the current retail pricing. Okay, let me see.
Yeah, and maybe like, I don't know if it was a keypad maybe that he saw, the hybrid is $399. Maybe he's thinking of a traditional keypad that's not a hybrid, those would be $299. So maybe
Okay,
that's where
yeah.
the price thing came in.
Okay. So Matt asks under lighting, will it warn you if you try to put incorrect components together, a la if you try to put like a Caseta repeater on a RA2 project that's already populated with RA2 components?
No, it won't save you from that. It will let you, it would let you mix,
Okay.
Caseta products and raw products, because the system doesn't necessarily know that it's all. I mean, I see where you're coming from, because you would think you would want the software to kind of save you from yourself in that instance, but the reason it doesn't do that is if you have a couple of different projects that you're working on and you want to just get one order in to get all that stuff in, you can mix and you could put Caseta stuff and raw select stuff all on the same order if you wanted to.
Okay. All right. Joel will reach out to you about getting set up for shades. There's a training requirement. We'll be happy to walk you through that process and connect you with your local rep in Wisconsin. Let me see. I think that's it for the questions. So most of the questions are related to where can I find this? So
yeah, right.
it sounds like people are interested in seeing it. Okay, Ken, I don't understand.
And again, I would encourage you, even if you're not going to start using it right away, for actually getting your orders through, I would encourage you to get in there and just kind of play with it a little bit and get set up so that you can sit down with your local rep just to go through it, because it is a nice tool, and it is definitely more user friendly than the SCT was. There's a lot of little tricks and things to it that can make your life easier, like the mass editing on the spreadsheet and things like that. So,
Well, let me ask
get familiar with it before you're forced to use it.
Let me ask a logistics question regarding placing POs through AllNet. So with the SCT currently, a customer or one of our dealers will create a project file, and then it'll say, number 678 side mark, Murphy project.
Yep.
Rev 0, and then they'll submit that number to us. We'll send it off to Lutron. We'll get it quoted for a price for the dealer cost, and then we'll send it back to the dealer.
Right.
And then they send us a sign-off sheet. What is the process to place the orders through this software platform? Same thing?
Same process. Nothing changed in that regard. It's just
Perfect.
a different
Okay.
tool for building the shades.
Okay. And then in regard to the having a mixed project with shades and lighting, I mean, obviously we have all the lighting product is already priced out. Can we segregate and have, or should we ask the dealers to segregate and have the lighting be on a separate portion so that we don't waste resources quoting something that we obviously already have, the pricing's already been established?
Oh, yeah, I would say from a procedural standpoint, from your side of it, yeah, you might want to ask the dealers to do separate quotes for the lighting hardware and the shades.
We'll work something up. We'll figure that out. So, okay. So far, this looks like a good tool. I like this a lot. So hopefully the dealers will respond well to it. I like the fact that you can assign projects to different people within the organization and not have unique logins for every single person. So
Yeah,
I could
it's
see
nice
that
and
helping out.
yeah, and it's all live. So one of the things too with the SCT is if you open it and you're not connected to the internet, you know, the information that's in your SCT could be out of date. There could be, you know, fabrics maybe that have been discontinued, or maybe fabrics that have been added that don't show up in your SCT. Since this is a web-based tool, it's up to date all the time. And, you know, in a lot of dealers, they have, you know, their guy that goes out and measures, he could start building the shades, but then maybe somebody else is the one that makes the fabric choices and has that conversation with the homeowners later. So yeah, you could start a project and then assign it to somebody else, and everybody within that shop can get access to it, so that you can all kind of share information without having to create the file, email it to somebody else so that they can pull it up in their SCT. It just makes it a little bit more user friendly for everyone.
This is a lot more collaborative.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah, so it's we don't have to have one person who manages the SCT and then everyone else is on a giant Slack thread.
Yeah, exactly, right.
Nice. Okay, so the questions that are following up here are asking about whether or not this web-based tool is mobile or tablet friendly, or whether or not there will be a dedicated app in either the Android
it is
marketplace
mobile.
or the iOS marketplace.
It's mobile friendly, because it is an actual web-based site. There's not going to be an app for it, but yeah, it's tablet friendly. So if you pull it up, say on your iPad, you turn the tablet sideways, it'll fill out correctly so that you can have a better view at it. So yeah, that's a lot of people are excited by the fact that they can use a tablet and they don't have to lug around a laptop too. Certainly you could do it on a phone, but it would probably be a little bit cumbersome unless you had one of those gigantic like iPad mini thing size phones or something like that. But it is mobile friendly, yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. I don't see any other additional questions. So what else was new from Cedia? Do you want to, I mean, we got a few minutes left. So I know you said that a lot of the stuff was in regard to the new lighting fixtures that aren't necessarily products that we're going to offer here, but you said there were some minor revisions to some of the things that were.
Yeah, so on the Raw Select app and the Connect app, there was a lot of dealers that said, you know, their homeowners like the ability to customize it a little bit. So Lutron has added in the latest version of the app that's coming out here shortly, you do have the ability to, you know, like in the old app, you could put a picture of your house or put a picture of your family or whatever. So you have the ability to do that. You can also change the background in the app. From a hardware standpoint, there really wasn't a whole lot. Again, Lutron was really putting almost all of their engineering resources into getting this new portal up and running. And there's going to be more tools. There's going to be more tools that are going to be available to dealers. You know, whether they're direct dealers or buying through distribution, to make it easier to do business with Lutron. Some of those things are like the Pro program. So anybody that's out there listening to this, if you're not on the Pro program, definitely take a look at that. It's a reward system that you can register your projects that you do, whether it's Caseta, Raw, select Ratu or even shades, and you get points for the business that you're selling anyway. And then you can use those points to buy products or to buy signage for your trucks or to buy, polo shirts or, Lutron hat, Lutron Pro hats, things like that. But definitely look at the Pro program if you're not signed up on there, because there's going to be more web tools coming. For the people that are obviously dedicated to Lutron and involved in the programs, they want to provide more and more support. So from a hardware standpoint, there really wasn't a whole lot that was new. I'll address Ketra because everybody kind of knows about who Ketra is and the fact that Lutron bought them, and there really hasn't been a whole lot of information spread around. So Ketra is a lighting manufacturer. They make fixtures and replacement bulbs and things like that. The thing that's really unique about them is that they've been kind of known, or they've come to be known in the industry as a kind of circadian rhythm lighting technology. Lutron's really not using that nomenclature for it. It's more human-centric lighting. But what it does, it's got the ability to mimic natural daylight. So you can basically set up your system so that throughout the course of the day, your artificial light in your house is going to match the natural light outside. So in the morning when you're first waking up, it's more of a warm, kind of an orangey color, maybe 1700 Kelvin temperature, and a lower light intensity output. And then as you go throughout the day, you get closer to noon, the light becomes more of a white light, more of like a 3000 to 3500 Kelvin temperature. The intensity increases, so there's more light output. And then as you fade kind of off in towards the evening, the reverse happens where the light softens and it dims down a little bit. So they really created this unique technology. And there's other companies out there like USAI that say that they have circadian rhythm lighting. And they've got their integration platform through Savant. And it's another great product, but the Ketra solution truly is unique. As Lutron rolls it out, they're doing it very slowly. It's only going to be offered through the Homeworks platform, at least for the foreseeable future. Maybe it'll come to Ratu down the road. I don't know, but it sounds to me like at least in the beginning they're going to limit it just to the Homeworks dealers. And they're doing a very, very slow rollout because Ketra was a very small company and they don't have the production capability to mass market it to people. So Lutron just wants to make sure that they do this right, roll it out. Again, most of you guys, if you're buying through distribution, you're likely not a Homeworks dealer, so you're not going to have access to it. But I wanted to at least address it because I get a lot of questions from people like, what is Ketra? What's Lutron doing with them now that they bought them? So their timeline is, probably this time next year is when it'll really be rolled out to the masses, and the masses being the Homeworks dealers. But in the short term, it's very limited in the number of dealers that they're going to open it up to, and the volume of business that they're going to push out there is going to be very slow. So if you do have more questions about Ketra, there are referral programs and stuff. So if you had an opportunity where you really needed it, there are some dealers probably in your area that do have access to it, and we can always connect you with them. Other than that, again, it was, the Ketra integration and then the development of all these web-based tools that are coming is really where Lutron was focusing all their engineering resources. So not much on the product standpoint to offer, unfortunately.
Okay, perfect. So I've got a couple of follow-up questions. So number one, we're just talking about the pro residential program and getting projects registered. So I remember in our last presentation where we spent a lot of time in the pro residential, one of the side benefits was a value add for the end user, a value add for the client with a doubling of warranty. Which components that we're selling would the warranty be doubled on? Would it also include the shades?
So there is an extension of warranty on the shades as well. The way the warranty works is A standard warranty on Lutron's lighting control hardware is 1 year. So as a pro dealer, I register a job, that homeowner's warranty, and the program has changed a little bit. When it first rolled out, when the dealer would register it, it got extended by a year, and then they would send an email to the homeowner and ask them to complete a short survey, and then it would extend by another year. Well, they've done away with that part. So when you register that as a dealer, you're now taking their 1 year warranty to a 3-year warranty. With the shades, the standard warranty on shades is 5 years, 100%, and then 3 years prorated at 50%. So it's an 8-year in total, an 8-year warranty. When you're on the pro program and you register your projects, it actually extends the full warranty. So it ends up taking it to a total of a 10-year warranty. So you get 7 years full, and then 3 years prorated at 50%. And of course, that's warranted against manufacturer's defects, stuff like that. Not little Johnny jumping on the shades and swinging from them. But yeah, that's, to my knowledge, that's the best shade warranty in the industry. I don't know of anybody that's got a better warranty than that. So there are definitely benefits for the homeowners on that. When the dealers are on the pro program as well. Plus, if you're on the pro program, once you reach a certain level, which you only have to buy about 10 grand worth of stuff to get to that level, you're eligible to be listed on the where to buy site on the Lutron webpage. So if a customer is looking for a local dealer, say they see one of these advertisements that Lutron's doing and they say, hey, I'm interested in shades or I'm interested in lighting control, they put their zip code in there, and if you're the closest one to them, you're going to pop up on their where to buy site. So there's definitely advantages of being on the pro program, in addition to the fact that you're getting points that you can use to buy product and signage and things like that for what you're doing already anyway. And the main point of this is Lutron, and they used to have, for those of you who've been around a while, they used to have a program they called the PSP program. And the idea behind it was fantastic. The execution was terrible. You had to scan invoices and send them in and do all of these different things to get your credits, and it was a pain, and frankly nobody did it because it wasn't worth the time and aggravation. Now when you go in to set up a Caseta or a Raw Select job, when you're in the app, you go into contractor mode, you put your pro number in there, and it automatically registers the job for you. So it's not like you're even taking extra steps to register the jobs anymore. If it's full raw too, all you have to do is get the serial number off of the bridge, off the Connect bridge, go to the lutron.com/pro, register that job. To register it, really, all you have to do is put the serial number of that Connect bridge in there. So I mean, they made it very easy to log your jobs and to get the benefits. So again, I don't want to turn this all into a big pro commercial, but if you're not in a pro program, you're definitely missing out.
And tomorrow night is that's kind of what tomorrow night is about. So if anyone is within driving distance of any of the branches, we're having a dinner event at all 4 branches. So please reach out to your contact at your local on-net branch and see if I'm sure there's seats. Well, here's the thing with us, we'll make the room and we'll get more food. So please come out, bring your staff. It's an evening event. Bring your wives if you'd like, or husbands, who knows. So anyway, so yeah, the pro thing is pretty cool. We're happy to promote it because we think it's a good value add, and also it makes some of our dealers stand out because Lutron is a product that's broadly distributed, and there might be another contractor who has, they're doing something on that project and they go, oh, I can buy Lutron because their plumbing distributor sells it or whatever, but they can't execute to the same level as our higher end integrators can. So it's nice that there's there's some sort of a differentiator that Lutron created to show, the different levels of dealers. So we're happy to participate in that. We're happy to support it. So on that note, I've got another question. So earlier in the presentation, you mentioned being certified for fixtures. So obviously you've addressed the Ketra situation and how it's a totally different class of product and it's going to be rolled out on a kind of a different schedule. But we've had a handful of dealers that are looking at the Lutron fixtures that are, let's say, the LEDs that are dimmable to 1% or 2%, or just some of the other fixtures. And it looks like Lutron's got some compelling products in the fixture category. They may not be the most price competitive, but we know for a fact that they're integration friendly. So that might make it worthwhile for our guys to do. In this, in your thing that's still live on our screen, if I wanted to add, let's maybe throw a couple dimmers on there, and then throw a couple of fixtures on there, and then also, what's the process that our dealers need to do in order to be able to buy those products through AllNet?
So the fixtures is kind of a slightly different animal. There is a specific training that's required to get fixture certified, and then there's a requirement to buy a demo. The fixtures really are, for the most part, they're limited to the direct homeworks dealers to buy direct. We can actually, we do have the ability to quote them through distribution. But I would say, you kind of hit the nail on the head. So Lutron has some really great high-end fixtures, and because it's Lutron, that you can obviously get that guaranteed compatibility. I'm going to be a little bit selfish here and say, so Archibald and Meek, we are a lighting manufacturer rep. That's what our 50+ year history has been. And most other folks out there in different parts of different territories, most of the reps are also lighting manufacturers reps. So if you are interested in getting into fixtures, and I'll speak locally for me, I don't know what some of the other reps have in the outlying areas and, Wisconsin, Michigan, Indy, things like that. But, we are the lighting reps for Nora Lighting. We're the reps for USAI. We're the reps for Pure and Edge. So, I mean, we have a lot of great residential lines in addition to Lutron. So if you are interested in getting into the lighting business, learning more about lighting, learning how to spec it, things like that, definitely reach out, because we're happy to help you. And a lot of the manufacturers that we rep are on an OEM program with Lutron, so you can spec a USAI light fixture, for example, with a Lutron driver. So that way you're getting that high quality dimming performance, you're getting the guaranteed compatibility, but you're not paying $800 a fixture, or retail price $800 a fixture. The Lutron fixtures are aimed at the super high-end luxury market, so they definitely have their place, but we do have other options that are also very high quality that we can guarantee compatibility with and do warm dimming and all those really nice features that our customers are looking for, and we can do it at a price point that's not limited to just the super high-end luxury market. So again, if you're interested in getting into lighting, definitely reach out to me or to your local reps, because chances are they're a lighting manufacturer's rep as well. I know that's one of my focuses for this year, is to try to help introduce those dealers to lighting that want to get into that business, because I think HTSA for a while has been pushing that lighting is technology. So the lighting itself is really should be shifting out of the electrician's hands and into the AV integrators' hands. And that's, some people will argue that's true. Some will argue that no, it's the domain of the electricians, but more and more electricians are becoming AV integrators as well. So, I mean, there's definitely opportunity, there's money to be made. And if you're going to be the one ultimately at the end of the day that when the lights don't work, they're going to point their finger at you, not the electrician, then why shouldn't you be involved in the lighting side of it to begin with, to make sure that you're guaranteeing compatibility and that there aren't going to be issues and that you're getting quality fixtures on the project.
Okay, and that's a good point. So usually on these like ultra luxury new construction projects, and certainly on a lot of renovation projects, whether it's going to be remodel, a lot of times the integrators, they have the steering wheel anyway. So if there's going to be any sort of sophisticated lighting with any sort of color change, or like you said, the circadian rhythm tracking that tracks the time of day and changes the color temp, most of the electricians that are out there that are high quality contractors, they do great work, and the work comes in on time and on budget, but they aren't necessarily going to be fully versed on these new sophisticated technologies, nor how to integrate them. So yeah, maybe our guys should have the steering wheel and at least be influencing the decision, if not providing the product outright. So yeah,
well,
I'd
right,
like to see that.
And also, I mean, you know, there's a lot to know about lighting and making sure that you're specifying good quality light. And the electricians don't really they don't know that, and frankly, they don't, for the most part, don't really care. They're working within a budget to provide light fixtures, so they pick a light fixture that fits in that budget. They don't necessarily know that, you know, hey, this is going into a room where there's a lot of fancy artwork and things, and we need a good color, you know, good color quality. We need a good high R9 value to bring out the reds in those paintings and things like that. So ultimately, again, the homeowner, if they have lighting that's not good quality lighting, and it's not dimming well, and it's, you know, even just the color rendering and how it helps enhance the look of the space, if they're not happy with it, they're unfortunately pointing the finger at the AV integrator and not the electrician, because they don't know any different, you know. And so you can really bring the customer a whole new level of service and a whole new level of experience by being involved in the lighting part of it. You know, and there's a lot of ways to work with the electricians. For the most part, they're buying stuff, throwing 10 points on it, and, you know, and slapping it in the ceiling, and they don't, they're happy to get the 10 points and then their labor to install. So if you supply the lights, you know, and either you work out a side deal with the electrician to make them whole, or you sell it to the electrician and let them throw their 10 points on it and mark it up and sell it to the GC or the homeowner, then everybody wins. You're not having that fight with them, but you're still influencing the lighting to make sure you're getting the right thing on the job. So
Yeah, the only thing more expensive than a premium light fixture is retrofitting a premium light fixture in after someone else put in
right.
an incorrect light fixture. Okay, I think we've got all of our questions. Oh, you know what? David asked a question about the shirts. So we talked about shirts on the Residential Pro program. So if he wants to have his staff basically uniforms and have the shirts be like Lutron polos or whatever, and then takes them to his local embroidery shop, can he get Lutron shirts even if he hasn't earned them on his program yet? Is it something he can, like his local rep can help him source some shirts for his staff?
I don't want to speak for other reps. I would say if somebody in the Chicago area said, hey, I want to get shirts for my guys, we'll figure out a way to make it happen.
Okay.
I would suspect that the reps in the other areas would want to work with you too.
Okay, David, reach out to us. We'll help make that happen for you. So we'll or either that or show up tomorrow night and then grill him
Yeah, there you go.
after he's got a full belly of some awesome awesome dinner, especially I love giving John Orvik a hard time. John's our guy here in Michigan, so he works really hard for us. Yeah. So yeah, John's gonna have a belly full of lasagna tomorrow, and he's gonna be doing a presentation while he's trying to fight off a nap, I'm sure.
There you go.
So, all right, Paul, thank you for the presentation today, and everyone, thank you for your time. It looks like we don't have any questions left, and we're a little bit over on time. So I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. So, Paul, do you have any last words?
No, that's it. Just, if, you know, I appreciate all your business, you know, and definitely if there's anything that we can do to help you, don't feel, you know, don't, I have a lot of dealers that say, you know, I listened to you say it multiple times and I never believed that you'd actually come out and help me. We will help you. You know, if you got your first shade job, your first raw 2 job or whatever, you just need some help walking through figuring out what dimmers you need or making sure you're measuring things right on your first shade job. Don't be shy about reaching out. We will definitely help you. We want you to be successful and we want to help you grow your business. So
and for the dealers,
whatever you can.
For anyone on the call who happens to be in Northern Illinois, so I've been to Paul's office. So it's like the border of Bensonville and Elmhurst. So it's only like 5 minutes from the Elk Grove office for AllNet. So yeah, stop by and introduce yourselves. And they've got a bunch of samples and cool stuff going on down there. So there's a little lab in the back, and we actually put together some of our samples with I think it was when we rolled out to Amazon. So we did some testing for voice integration down at your office with some of my kit and your kit. So
yeah.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you for your time today. And Paul, again, thank you for taking time to educate our entire dealer base. So I know that only a portion of this dealer base is going to be is going to impact you in your numbers, but thank you for taking the time out to help us. So we're going to go ahead and end the call right now. So If anyone has any additional questions, please feel free to reach out. Thank you.